Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Wow. I think Tone Talks done jumped off the Doomer stream. No, I can't bring up a panel tonight. I have to. So, okay, FYI, everyone. This week is going to be crazy. So let me give y'all this disclaimer for this week. Z is about. Well, I'm about to attempt that 100 hours. I mean, if I count YouTube, it is going to be 100 hours this week probably. So I have overtime at both jobs this week. And so it's gonna get up there. It's gonna get into the 90 something hours between both jobs. And if I count YouTube, if I clear like 7-8 hours on YouTube, then I will hit like 100 hours, right? If I count the hours I do on YouTube this week. So yeah. So this week might be 100-hour week. It's definitely gonna be 90 something if I don't count YouTube. But like I said, if I count YouTube and I put in like 8 hours ish, then yeah, we about to get, yeah. So and Leon says, bro, Lord, what's your blood pressure, Z? Believe it or not, so I got a clean bill of health. I just went to go see the doctor. So I went to go see the doctor in January. The blood work came back. No. I'm lying to you. I went to go see the doctor in February. The blood work, I was supposed to see her 2 weeks later, but I had work, and so I went to go see her 3 weeks later, which was last week Wednesday. And yeah, so my sugar is a little high-ish. Well, okay, let me take that back. It's still in range, so my sugar is still good, but it's trending high, so I got to cut back on the energy drinks and whatever. But my blood pressure and my cholesterol are good, believe it or not. So yeah. That's why I had Popeyes last week, kind of celebratory Popeyes. But yeah, so I still want to work on my diet and whatnot. But yeah, no, my blood pressure is actually pretty okay, believe it or not. Yeah, but my sleep is trash and my diet is atrocious. I'm not even. Well, let's not talk about it. Right? So there goes the disclaimer, you guys. So this week is gonna be total pandemonium. So yeah, we about to kill that overtime clock, right? We're about to kill that overtime clock at both gigs. All right. So shout out to Tone Talks and Jack Morgan. What is his name? RLP. So I'm checking out more and more of his stuff. Yeah. So I guess this is the pre-Doomer stream. I think I already had a pre-Doomer stream, so we'll be like, this is like part 2 of the pre-Doomer stream. So shout out to once again to Tone Talks. The link is in the description on what we're covering, where he speaks about millennials and Gen Z and how they were screwed. I want to make sure to emphasize this. So Tone Talks makes sure to correct something that he saw on a TikTok that Jack covered, which was a young person speaking about how like 20 years ago they were good, and Tone Talks make sure to say like no, more like 40 years ago for the boomers, right? So like it's like kind of try to throw it like if you say 20 years ago, then you're throwing like the oldest of millennials and like you're throwing Xers under the bus, and like yeah, this is not really Xers' fault, right? And like Tone Talks made sure to emphasize that white boomers didn't do politics. They just didn't. They did the politics to hoard the wealth, but like they didn't do politics to pass the wealth off to their children in general. Like their individual children, kind of, sort of, yes. And that was for like the top 20 or so percent, 30% of like the white boomers that had it. But like so like in general, no, but like for their individual kids, yes-ish, right? So Tone makes sure to cover that. The reason why I covered this, I titled this video "The Silent Depression" is because one of the videos that Jack covers and Tone Talk covers, I thought was very, very important, where the young lady says we're living through somewhat of a silent depression, and it goes to something that Jack Morgan was covering, where he was saying, he would go out, and living in South Florida, especially, when you go out, you can't really tell that people are struggling. Like, all the nice cars, the expensive rental cars, the condos going up in the downtown areas of the Tri-County area, right? In the different cities, like, you can never tell, right? You could never tell, right? So that, I think, when Jack said that, and Tone kind of contextualized that for him, I think that was very important. Um, Also, the silent depression. So this is where I start speaking about the Black community in particular, and some of the things that we were sold, particularly um, us Xers, millennials, and Gen Z. LLC, Twitter talk, start your own business talk, six-figure talk, women, Black women, um, no struggle love talk, um, get the bag talk, right? Every day I'm hustling, Rick Ross talk. All of this thing that we've been sold for the past 20 some odd 30 years, for us Xers, millennials, and the oldest of Gen Z. And, like, us realizing that was a bunch of hustle culture that we were being sold, that didn't really amount to anything, right? A bunch of hustle culture that we were sold that hasn't really amounted to much. You know what it amounted to? Actually, wrong. You're wrong, Z. You're wrong. It did amount to something. It amounted to a bunch of delusional ass young people. And when I say delusional young people, I'm pretty much talking about all of us under the age of 50. Not even only under the age of 30, not only under the age of 40, really, like, under the age of, like, 50. I might even want to stretch it to 55, right? Especially in the Black community. Oh my God. So if y'all remember, maybe like 3 4 months ago, I covered Tone Talks covering the white folks complaining, rightfully so, about the current environment. And, Tone made comments saying, like, why aren't Black people sounding like this? And I'm like, delusion and, like, hustle culture and how it's permeated the Black community, and, like, the gender war conversation, particularly online, and allowing, I almost lost it right there. Okay, allowing ignorant, we'll say, instead of the word I wanted to say, ignorant ass Black women to talk, right? That's what happened. That's why we're not complaining. We allowed people to struggle and then pass the struggle off as, the reason why I'm struggling is because you men, Black men, aren't up to par, right? So I say all that to say, the silent depression that the young lady spoke about, and as a matter of fact, that's what Tone was essentially trying to explain to Jack Morgan. And when the young lady actually said that term, and I'm gonna start using that term because I think that's like a perfect descriptor for what we're seeing. Like, the young people that are still living in their parents' home up until their late 30s, early 40s. Your parents are still floating you here and there. Stuff like that. Like, that is the silent depression. You know, one of the brothers in here, he's not in here right now. Was speaking about his mom potentially living with him. When her husband passed, maybe. Like, that is the silent depression. Sleeping in your van life, that is the silent depression. We're just making it sound cool and trendy. That's the silent depression, y'all. Right? All of these, the women who are demanding opulent lifestyle, 6 figures and above, and the 6 figures is not what they think it is. Shout out to the Raj Report. They're saying 6 figures. They're saying 6 figures, but the lifestyle they're describing is $1 million lifestyle. They just don't know how to count, so they're saying 6 figures. They saying $100,000, right? At the cheapest end, they're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in lifestyle, but more likely $1 million lifestyle, right? Yeah. So that just speaks to what we're speaking about. This delusion, particularly in the black community, is how we got here. That's how we get here, right? I think that term is perfect for what we're seeing and how people are speaking instead of being honest about the environment, right? So we already know, I say these numbers all the time, but I think it's important that I say it now again. 40% of Americans can afford a $400 emergency. 60% of Americans can afford a $1,000 emergency. 80% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. There's some recent polling data that says even the people that earn $100,000 a year, how much of them are living paycheck to paycheck, essentially, right? We already know the what's the average or the median credit score is something like a 680, right? I think average new home price is something like $416,000. So we could just say 420 to make it a nice, round number. And I think that we've been encouraged, particularly in the black community, not to actually talk about the struggle, right? And this also puts a whole new twist on something I was watching earlier today. I just went down this rabbit hole of this kind of hipster, swaggy, kind of presents borderline like an LGBTQ brother, but maybe he's not. Brother out of New York, and he just does street interviews with people, and he asks them what they're wearing and where they got it from, right? What's the brand? And so I went down a rabbit hole of some of his shorts, some of his shorts today, and a lot of the clothes were like thrift store clothes. And a part of me was asking myself, even when I was watching it before I watched Tone Talk's stream, how much of this like thrift store thing is like the trendy thing, and how much of it is like I can't afford new clothes thing, and then how much of it is like I can't afford new clothes for real, like that. So I'm like not any real sense. So I'm doing this thrift store thing, right? Like telling myself like I want to do this, like this is what I want to do, right? So it's like cool, but it's really not, right? But I think some of it is like the cool factor, but is it all the way that, right? Huh. So I think the silent depression is a perfect descriptor of what we are experiencing and what we've been talking about on my channel for the past few years. It's not the Great Depression where it's in your face broadcast. It's a silent depression because we were taught and raised not to complain about it, especially in the black community. And we were taught to scapegoat another subsect of the black community. Hey, black women, how you doing? Right? When really the issue is that college degree is not paying what it should have been paying. And really living at your parents' home in your mid-30s, you didn't have, that wasn't the dream, right? That's not the way it was supposed to be. right? And so I checked out um, more of Jake Morgan's stuff, and there's a clip that well, a news article that he just covered the title of, which is like um, something like not having kids is the way to like pretty much the way to like life balance, right? Work life balance. Don't have kids. Like I said it before, like this is economic Darwinism. But it's like it's more extreme than people think, though. That's the thing. It's far more extreme than people think, and that's another reason why you have. And I'm gonna cover this because what's her name? Brienne. What's her first name? Tiffany Brienne? Is it Tony Brienne? Tony Brienne. I want to say it's Tony Brienne. Um, she covered this a few months ago, and I want to go back and watch it, which is like the F them kids movement that women are like engaging in right now, which is like really them saying, I don't want to have kids, rich auntie type talk. I want to go travel. I want to go live my life. I don't want to have stretch marks. I don't want the responsibility of motherhood. And I skipped around on the video, and you have just straight up saying, I regret being a mother. Like, I know I'm not supposed to say it, but this is for the birds, right? This is for the birds. And y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And she was just so honest about it, right? And I'm not saying Tony Brienne, but like, the clips that she covered on her channel of different women on TikTok and on YouTube, like saying like, this is for the birds. This is not the business. This is not what it is. Right. So I think that says a lot. And we've all seen it. Shout out to Sarge Willie Pete for saying this also. Like we're buying up these homes and leaving them on the renters market because young people don't want to buy homes. No, young people can't afford homes. Stop lying to yourself, or better yet, attempting to lie to us, because you're not actually lying to us, right? You're not actually lying to us. This is like so when I speak about unchecked capitalism, runaway capitalism, shout out to Sarge Willie Pete, he's saying it also. And then the way that affects us and the way we then see each other, black women. Huh? That's why y'all heard me say this a couple years ago. Even when y'all end up with the white dude, you swirlers and divestors, y'all not out the red yet. You're not safe. That's what happens when you hyper focus on the black men ain't Asian. Black men is their fault. And black men are the weak link in the black community. It's black men that's holding the black community down. Instead of being honest, the rich white capitalists that you wish you were with, oops, are the ones that's causing this issue. And it's for everyone. Well, at least if you're not in the top 20%. And even in the further down in the top 20%, they're barely keeping their head above water. They have a few more nice things than the rest of us. The bottom of that upper middle class ish, which is really not the top. That's really not the top 20%. Upper middle class is really like the top 10 and 5%. We got to redefine all of that, right? And so that's all it is. And I'm glad that you have young people like saying it, screaming it from the mountaintops how expensive these things are. Right? It's good that they're saying how expensive these things are. Right? Sahel, not even soon now. And Sahel says, soon the world will be Japan and South Korea, aging out population. It's already happening in the US. The only thing keeping the US population afloat is immigration. Like, that's actually true. Right? We're not having children like that anymore. 40 some odd percent of men have children or are going to have children. Like 60 some odd percent are not going to have kids or don't have kids. And there you go. Or is it 50 some odd percent? damn near 60% are not going to have kids. Yeah, right. Now, the cool thing that this system does is convince you that it was your choice. Dear black women, y'all got to be the most gullible when it comes to this. I don't want to have kids. I want to travel. You mean what the system is trying to get you to do anyway? All those people that find really interesting ways of like blaming men, namely black men, for like how expensive these children are and like these crappy schools, public schools, and like all the things that a muhaha person would initiate so that the lower rungs of society don't have children. You mean you being part of the lower rungs of society and you not wanting children or having children and low-key regretting it, high-key regretting it, you mean to say that you're not doing or engaging in the same type of lifestyle or at least rhetoric that the elites wanted you to do anyway? Right? That's why when I came in the game, when I entered the Black Manosphere, like I said it, I was like, this welfare queen thing with the 6, 7 kids is not a thing anymore. Like, yeah, you got the brothers in Tennessee that got how many kids apiece, right? Yes, you got the chick in like the gutter. We ain't gonna say the projects or the hood. The bottom of the bottom with maybe like 5, 6 kids from like 3, 4 different dudes. Yes, that exists, but that's not a thing anymore. This is not the older Xers and the boomers anymore. These extra average black women are talking about being rich aunties while they make $40,000 a year. That's the world we're living in. The hood sister from back in the day, the modern iteration of her, is having a kid mad early, quote unquote, a kid mad early when she's 19, 20. That's mad early nowadays. Because, by the way, if you didn't know, like, women having children, girls having children at 16, 17, teenage pregnancies is not a thing anymore. Right? Even they didn't got their mind right. Right? So, mad young now is like 19, 20, 21. Which, by the way, is like, that would have been kind of old-ish back in the day, but okay, whatever. And that the hood sister has one kid at 19, 20, 21, and then she has her second kid at like 35. That's the new hood way, right? Her second kid, she has it with the dude she's probably gonna marry or probably gonna be in that long-term relationship with. That's the long-term relationship / marriage guy's kid at 32, 35, 37 years old. Right? Right when her oldest kid is about 14, 15, that's when she has the second kid. That's the new hood way. If y'all didn't know. Ask me how I know. I know too many. Right? The old hood way was back to back to back, 5 kids, 3, 4 different baby daddies, 2 years apart, 1 year apart. Right? That's not the new hood way. The new hood way is a kid when you 21, 22 from some dude you was just doing whatever with. And then the second kid when you 35, 37, 39. Right? That's the world we're in right now. Right? So, so doom spending, that was the second part. And this, so we watched this. So, I'm glad we're actually getting terms for these phenomenons that we're witnessing. Um, Doom spending, I think, once again, is another appropriate, perfect term for when we see people that don't got it or at least you think or feel that if they would save the right way, they could maybe barely make it into a starter home that's going to end up being their home permanently. Ain't no starter homes no more. That house, that's what you're going to be in, right? But the doom spending, I think is a perfect description of F it. I'm not gonna get a house anyway, right? I'm never gonna get that dream car anyway. I'm never gonna have that dream job anyway. And if I do, I'm gonna be barely making it anyway. I'm never gonna have that dream person, right? That dream lifestyle. So what? I'm gonna blow this stupid money on a trip. I'm gonna blow two, three, $4,000 on this trip overseas. $5,000 on this trip overseas. $6,000 on this trip overseas. $10,000 on this trip overseas. I'm never gonna own a house anyway. Right? I'm gonna go out to the restaurant and blow $500. Why not? Right? So I think doom spending is a perfect title for what we are witnessing from some of our cousins, some of our siblings, maybe even our own parents. That is a perfect description because that's what it is. F it, I'm not going to have the nice things anyway. Right? So if F it, I'm going to have the nice things anyway, might as well roll this money on. I'm only earning $48,000 a year, $52,000 a year. I don't have a partner. I'm probably never gonna get married. Probably never gonna have kids. So, living with my parents. You know, so why not? So I think doom spending is the appropriate title. I think the silent depression, that is a perfect title because we're floating on credit, and hopes and dreams and aspirations. And I think going back to the black community, I think that's another reason why we have this very skewed. There's a couple of reasons. There's a number of reasons we can list off on why the black community tends to have this skewed view of the world. There was a poll done on like people's like view of the future and like aspirations, and like black people were far more optimistic about the future than white people were. And like I don't know if it's see, I don't want to diminish being having faith in the future because I think that's how black people got to be where they are. I think the previous generation's faith in a better future for their children is the whole reason that the black community isn't jumping off of bridges right now and jumping off of tall buildings and self-deleting. With that pause, I don't see it as optimism. I see it as delusion. Right? And I think the insane aspirationalism is how the black community gets to the place of being. Ooh, right, I like that. Debt rules everything around me. Dream, get the money, dollar bills, y'all. uh what would a Wu-Tang song called Dream sound like? What would the lyrics sound like? Not just the hook, not just the chorus, right? Like what would oh man, that would be it. We need to make like a delusional version of Cream. Like Dream. Like what would a delusional version of Cream sound like? Right? But I think the insane aspirationalism, I think the drug game really skewed the black community's view of money. I think scamming, it continues to skew the black community's view of money. I think the fast money, get rich quick schemes skew the black community's view of money. I think television obviously contributes to skewing the black community's view of money. Mass media. Hey, black women, how you doing? The consumption of mass media. Hey, black women, how you doing? Um, Reality TV shows. Hey, black women, how you doing? I think all of these things skew people's view of where and how much wealth people actually have, and in particular the black community, right? In particular the black community, right? And I say, so this is why you hear when I mock and make fun of and poke fun of these black women who compare black men to white men, and we know y'all don't really know them white guys like that. That's why I say the things I say, because I know they don't know what they're talking about. Your average white guy is not earning the money you talking about. You're comparing all of black men to like the top 20, really top 10% of white men, right? And then you deem black men lacking. That's why you hear me mock and make fun of certain white boomers, right? It's not just people who make fun of them. The Dave Ramseys of the world. It's not just Undead Chronic and Sarge who make fun of them. And thank you, Sahel. And Sahel says, Z has a point. The black community are trapped in a cycle of consumerism. Single black female addicted to retail therapy. And shout out to y'all for actually I heard the term before, slipped online, and then one of the brothers in the comments brought it back up to me because I was describing it without actually saying that literal term. Retail therapy. And by the way, that also goes into doom spending. My life sucks. I don't got no real money, but I can always buy me something for Fashion Nova for a couple dollars to make me feel like I'm progressing. And Jason Black spoke to this a little bit on a stream he did a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago, where he was talking about imagine working at these jobs for 8 years or whatever, and you haven't progressed, and it doesn't feel like you progress. Well, people are living these lives, and they're really not progressing. So the way, particularly for women, the way they feel like progressing is by buying little things. So they don't have the type of money to be blowing $200 and $300 on whatever, $500 on whatever. So they're buying little things for $50, $20 here and there, $70. And these little things make them feel like they're actually doing there's actually some type of progress in their life. They're doing something. They have something to show for this BS job. Right? Not to mention, Sahel, they've been encouraged that way. Y'all, I go at black women for the insanity and bad behavior, but I never let the white capitalists off the hook. Ever. Right? And that's why I played for y'all, and I play for y'all maybe twice, 3 times a year, and that's probably what it's going to be like 2, maybe 3 times a year. The clip from Wisecrack, where Gary Marsh, former CEO of Disney, speaks about targeting young people, the kids, particularly the girls, with lifestyle brand advertising. What do I say all the time? Those girls are now women, mainly millennials, but some younger Xers and definitely Gen Z. And thank you, Compassionate. And Compassionate says, this the part of the mouse utopia experiment where the mice turn into antisocial narcissists and just clean themselves all day. That was the beautiful ones. That was the ones that sat on top and they wouldn't interact with anyone. Hey, black women, what y'all was saying about F them kids again? You know, what I appreciate about us in this space, particularly me, I'm gonna pat myself on the back, and the Sarge Willie Pete's and the BGS's, right? And the art new styles and the Charles, and we talk about in Dr. T, etc., Dr. Green Gorilla. We speak about Dr. Ronald Lear. I'm gonna go on forever. Let me just say the Black Manosphere, right? um, we speak about and roguish. Goddamn. We do speak about black women and their misbehavior. Absolutely. And we contextualize it in the Raj report. And we contextualize it by speaking about this larger. And I want to follow the Raj report stream this morning. I caught a little bit of it. I'm probably gonna. Tomorrow is about to be a really tricky day. I'm gonna try to come to you guys with a stream tomorrow. I'm gonna try to cover the Raj report stream from earlier this morning. So look out for that. Um. So yeah, going back. So we contextualize these things. By the way, I don't hear the black women talking like this. Not even just the swirlers and divestors. Obviously, they're egregious. They're definitely not talking about like this. It's just black men ain't ish. Be getting in. Go get you a non-black man and go lay up, particularly under a white man, and the rest of your life will be great. But even the non-swirler divestors, right? What's the lady name that drive trucks? The sovereign woman, black woman, I think her name is. She's one. Obviously, y'all already know. Obviously, Chrissy and all the rest. Real talk with Yanny, duh, right? All of them. The sovereign woman. Thank you, Jake. But they don't contextualize this. Of course not. While the Jeff Bezos of the world got y'all peed in bottles and fighting unionization efforts, and think he could paper that over with giving Van Jones $100 million to go play with whatever organization he wants to start or he wants to fund. Huh? The Elon Musk, another one. Height of COVID, he was like, yeah, screw what the government talking about. Y'all gonna be at these factories building these cars. All right. So while we're over here in the black manosphere, even the black female lefties, Abe Bowser, right? Where y'all at? See, at least we give you we put in context your bad behavior. That doesn't mean we don't hold you accountable. At least we do you that solid, right? Oh, okay. And Nemesis, Z, the beautiful ones in John B. Calhoun's Mouse Utopia experiment were the males. The females would harm their young as well as other females. Harm their young of other females. Oh, sounds a bit familiar, right? Huh. Huh. Sahel, I read your comment, Sahel. I don't even want to put it up because it's crazy. Oh, not you, Sahel. I'm sorry. I'm gonna put your comment up. Jake, I read your comment. I'm not even gonna put it up. But yeah, I'm just making sure to tell you I acknowledge your comment. Right? Clearly, clearly compassionate and Joe's also. Right? And Zahel says, yeah, I heard about this too. And Zahel says, Google fired those YouTube guys in Austin while they were presenting their case. Corporate eating is corporate is eating everything and everyone. Yes, right. And so that's the environment we're in. And I think it is okay to go through the range of emotions because of the current environment. But we got to push back and we got to fight it. And I'm saying this because I don't know y'all in real life. And if any of you are on the track or know anyone on track to be anywhere in a powerful position, particularly for us younger Xers, us millennials, definitely Gen Z, you never know what cousin or maybe one of you, maybe one of my silent listeners who's going to be in Congress one day. You can't repeat what the white boomers did. You can't. First of all, we would your future generations wouldn't survive it. If you think it's bad now, right? And Venom case is, yeah, the males become indifferent, the females become crazy. Yeah, sounds about right. And accurate and on point and true, right? So it's just complete delusion. And Victor Creed says, after getting off a podcast with three um ex black women or three ex or black women, I can tell you they still gold on those boomer ideologies. Look, so Vic, and that's the thing. So this is the issue with having these type of conversations. And y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. This is the issue with having these type of conversations with certain folks is that you will speak to them about the systemic issues. You will give them the facts and figures. You will tell them like what I tell y'all. Um, you know, 40% of Americans can't afford a $400 emergency type talk, right? Um, Average new car price damn near $50,000, 48,000, right? Average house price 416, so 420, right? You will say that, and then they will give you the outliers. They'll give you the one-off stories, right? They will give you the one-off stories. So Vic, I hear you. I know, I'm fortunate enough that my lady, her dad wasn't so like I had to be the one to really walk him through it. But for the most part, that's the one thing I've been fortunate enough with, right? One of my close homegirls talking to her mom got it. My parents, I'm lucky. It's not difficult for me to explain the environment to my dad. My mom gets it. My lady, her mom gets it. So I'm fortunate in that way, but I've definitely come across family members, um, and other like older Xers and boomers who just don't get it. And they use either their own life experiences or the one off Drake type stories to dismiss or diminish what you're saying, right? About the current environment. While, by the way, low key, they complain about the price of groceries. I said low key, high key. And Jake says, They want to hold conflicting ideologies, and that doesn't work for anyone. Tone Talks pointed that out. In the stream, he points that out, right? And like that's a real thing. So we're gonna continue to, I think, get this and go to what Sahel is saying right here, because especially in the black community, we're not tying all of these things together. I think we have these things in separate like silos. We put these things in separate categories when it's all tied together. The lowering birth rate, the lower marriage rate, the insane, at least online gender war rhetoric, even though it's reflected in real life, but okay. All of that's tied in with the current economic reality for most Americans. Swirlers and divestors, and just general black men ain't ish women, black women, right? That's why y'all heard me say, and I'm glad I've said it, enough where people know me for saying it, which is, wait a minute, so black men were supposed to have, like, be these, black men were supposed to turn the black community into Wakanda and be these billionaire, millionaire dudes walking around here 50 years out of Jim Crow? Now we're pretty much on 55 years. And when I say Jim Crow, I mean Jim Crow on paper. Because we know there were still Jim Crow laws being struck down all through the 70s and 80s and 90s, right? So the same people who are okay with the rhetoric, and I want to also make this a class issue. I can't take you seriously if you're complaining about grocery prices, but you listen to the Bowser. Ooh, damn, Z. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I can't take you seriously if you complaining about these crappy jobs and not being unionized, if you listen to Chrissy, if you listen to Real Talk with Yanni, if you listen to Paris Milan, if you listen to Lexus Exodus, if you listen to Shira 7, if you listen to Sovereign Woman or Sovereign Black Woman, whatever her name is, you shouldn't be taken seriously. Uh, if you talking all this anti struggle love talk while you living at home with your parents complaining about grocery prices and turning thrifting into being cool, you should not be taken seriously. You're not a serious person and your politics are trash. And you're delusional. Huh? And this is a class flex. Understand what when I bring up Bowser and FD signifier and whatnot, notice once again who's in these long-term relationships, who's definitely getting married, who's having children in nuclear family while they talk. And this was FD's issue with me, and I'm gonna continue to stress it. Notice who's getting married and staying married and having children in nuclear family while they attempt to dictate down to the rest of us black men, us working class black men, working poor black men, lower middle class black men, how we're toxic and we're misogynoirist, right? We're sexist, misogyny, misogynoir, etc., etc. Huh? So once again, going to what Green Gorilla was speaking about, this is how feminism and capitalism crushes working class men. While the FD signifiers of the world wax poetic about what we're doing is aspiring for patriarchy while he's married and has children in wedlock. A foreign man in a foreign land, oops. And consciously, yikes. And Sahel says, but my guess is nature will recorrect the issue as the birth rate drops. Natural order will be restored because women who depend on the on government will be forced to change their tune. I agree. Maybe. Right? And compassion says build Wakanda while not being taught to read. Right? Yeah. Exactly. Venom came. Black women crying about touch starvation. So on one you have black women, and Leon says FD just wants good slaves. On one hand, you have black women complaining about touch starvation, and then on the other hand, they're talking to you about struggle love. And the question is to the Melissa Fords of the world, because maybe she's not financially struggling, but you did a whole lot of complaining about relationships, though. How? And once again, that's why I said I can't take these people seriously. You can't. And I'm not saying this young lady, the young lady we're talking about, the light skinned heavier sister who talks about being touch starved. But I'm saying the women that agree with her, particularly black women that agree with her about touch starvation, you can't listen to her and feel her pain because she's speaking to you, right? She's speaking to you. You really feel what she's saying. She's describing you. Ooh, that's me. You can't agree with her on the touch starvation and then also be subscribed to Chrissy and Yanni. While Yanni talks about decenter men. And what's the incentive? Oh, y'all know I gotta do it. I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta do it. I'll be a kept woman of luxury. I said it the wrong way. Of leisure. I'll be a kept woman of leisure. Right? You can't be subscribed to Paris Milan, who says Kintanji chose better, Eve chose better, Serena chose better. You can't be subscribed to her saying that. And yeah, I see the little series she's doing about the African brothers. I told y'all weren't safe. You can't listen to Paris doing that while you complain about grocery prices. Where's your white man to help you with them grocery prices? Well, sorry, Z, you said it wrong. Where's your white man to pay for the groceries and the mortgage? Huh? And the car note. Now, let's pause right there. How many, okay, forget black men, you already have. How many white men got it like that, ladies? Ooh, ooh. Huh? How many of them got it like that to pay for that GLB that you've been looking at? That GLE, that GLC that you've been looking at? And the house in the gated community? And the kids going to a nice public school? Let's not even put them in a private school, a nice public school because y'all live in a nice neighborhood. Huh? Because as Tone Talks covered a little while ago, those same white men, their white sisters are complaining about the current environment, the financial struggles. Huh. Hmm. And Leon, I'm gonna just look. Something just popped up on my screen. I can't really read it. What is that on my screen? I think it's from Leon, but I can't really. What is that? Look, I done slipped up and pressed this by mistake. Let me see if I press it again, if they'll come off the screen. Look at that. That happened by mistake. Okay, let's see. Let me press this. Look, I'm old man fingers. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, I finally took it off. All right. Right? So that's just the environment that we're living in, right? The silent depression, and I think that's a double entendre, really. It's not just the silent depression because of the environment, like the Great Depression. It's the silent depression because people are silently depressed as hell. That's where the retail therapy comes in, right? That's where the doom spending comes in. You have this dread, your existential crisis type thing going on, and you're trying to spin your way into feeling better, which is not going to work. Black women, women in general, really in the West, but definitely black women. Huh. So that's silent depression, and it definitely is a double entendre, right? That would also explain why the women over here with the neo-Nazi talk. I told y'all it's temper tantrum talk. As I've said before, the average white woman is living Roseanne's life. They're not living Real Housewives of Orange County. They're not living Paris Hilton's life, right? They're not living whatever her name is, Bethany, whatever her name is, from Real Housewives, and then she parlayed that fame and money into, right, into her own thing. They're not living that life. Your average white woman is living Roseanne's life. So y'all need to, dear black women, stop comparing yourself to white women, because the average white woman is living Roseanne's life. Actually, the average white woman is actually living less than Roseanne's life. Right? Huh. So Jake Morgan, who actually is doing just a bit better, his life was a bit better than your average white dude. Yeah, or Peggy Bundy. Yeah, that's true. That's true, Naaman. That's true. Right? Peg Bundy, definitely. Right? Oh, Al. Right? So, Jake Morgan, who actually had a bit better life than your average white dude, tells you he's living with a roommate. Right? So he's living with a roommate. He, like Z, right, has two cars. One is a classic. Z, get it out, right? Okay, much like Z, and he's correct. Classic car insurance is the loophole, right? And that's because they make us document our miles and all this other stuff. We got to take pictures. We got to take pictures of the car. Trust me, there's a reason why classic car insurance is so cheap. Plus, they know we're not driving it every day, right? I haven't driven a Z in like 3 weeks, right? So this white dude who's actually doing a bit better is telling you what he's doing to attempt to make this piece this life together and what he inherited, etc., etc. But we're compared to men who are doing even better than him. So all of black men are compared to white men who are doing even better than he's doing, and he's still above, and he's above average, right? So doom spending, silent depression, which once again double entendre there. And I'm glad that Tone laid that out. We are living the depression. It is the Great Depression, but it's hidden in ways that it wasn't during the Great Depression. It's hidden under credit card bills. It's hidden under the fact that you still live at home with your parents. It's hidden under the fact that you're thrifting, right? It's hidden under the fact that you're putting all the onus and blame on black men, particularly not college educated black men, not rich black men, right? It's hidden under the fact that your parents, if you do have a couple of dollars, or if they had a couple of dollars, better yet, are floating you. So that's the way of seeing it as a silent depression, but it's also a silent depression because you're secretly dying inside. Black women, while you attempt to be stoic, yeah, right. And what did Melissa Ford say? I didn't want anybody to see a crack in the facade. Huh. So on that note, yo, we will pause right there. But I definitely wanted to come to y'all with this today. I think that this was super important. Shout out to Tone Talks. Um, shout out to Jake Morgan. I think this was a great conversation. Um, you know, I once again, insane aspirationalism, delusion, um, just a weird understanding of money and wealth. I think especially a few years ago, when it was all about financial literacy, financial literacy, financial literacy, financial literacy. That's all we were hearing. You know, obviously LLC Twitter was a thing before Twitter was even a thing. Um, all the entrepreneurialism talk, which by the way, like I always feel like I gotta give this disclaimer. Mr. Z is not anti-entrepreneurialism. What Mr. Z is saying is that entrepreneurial talk is coping. It's wealthy people telling you on the bottom because you ain't starting no damn business, right? Okay, I'll check it out. And Jake says, watch Rich Turner's recent video. Z, corporate women are having mental breakdowns. Man, I bet. And Jake says, AKA the hustle sphere. Yeah. Alexa, play Rick Ross Every Day I'm Hustling, please. Play Ace Hood Hustle Hard, please. Exactly, PK. And PK says, copium and opium straight into the veins of the masses. Or they're snorting it, right? And you want to talk about delusion. We already know how much media black women in particular consume, both social media and mass media. And then you wonder why? I said it before, these women are barely sane. They're in straitjackets mentally, right? They're barely sane. When I hear Yanny talking like I'm like, whoo, barely sane. And every once in a while you'll hear it. That's why I keep on bringing up when Chrissy said, just in it's my apartment, this luxury apartment that I'm in by myself, and I'm like, yeah, there we go. Once again, you're not talking about the environment. You just spent how many years defecating on black men, colorism talk, right? Well, then we catch you low key slipping. You slipped up right there. That's why Mr. Z brings it up all the time. Speaking about being in your luxury apartment by yourself, and you said it in a very sober tone, huh? Mr. Z didn't also forget that a couple years ago you said you do sell, right, fantasy on your channel a little bit. You do engage in a little fantasy talk. It's not a little. I bet, Jake. I bet. And Jake says, by the way, Z, I met Lonnie Love, and oh my God, she's unbearable. I bet. I bet. You ain't even got to say it, right? Jake says, the reason why you're not rich is because you're not rising and grinding enough, my good brother. Meanwhile, Z's about to put in like 97 hours this week, and I'm not counting YouTube. If things go as planned, yeah. By the time we get to the end of Sunday, yeah. And if I count YouTube, depending on if I can stream and how long I stream, yeah, we might get either really, really close to 100 or just a tip right over 100 hours. Right? Not 97 GC, 90 some odd. But yeah, we might get to 97 or we might tip right over that. Right? Ooh, good point. It's hell says nothing worse than getting in your 40s while still battling high school delusions, right? Compassionate Z, go lay your ass down, fam. WTF? Yeah, I know, right? The reason why y'all don't know is because I don't. Well, actually, so this doesn't happen often. So, by the way, so like this is not a regular occurrence. The last time I did something like this was in April of last year. Was it April? When we had the flooding down here in South Florida and different places? It was like April, right? So this looked like I'm gonna get close to this maybe like once or twice a year. I'm gonna have a go at like damn near 100 hours. I'm gonna like skip into the 90 some odd hours and then maybe hit 100. Yeah. So yeah. GC says slavery is over. My brother hysterical, right? So and that is another reason why I think I look at this a bit different than others. Um, and I'm glad to see black people who actually get to the highest heights, are doing well, are living a great life, right? But the way we speak is as if the middle class doesn't exist, as if working class poor doesn't exist, and if they exist, it's their own fault. I don't know what happened to black people, but like the systemic analysis is just not there, particularly for black women. Oh my God, is the systemic analysis not there? Right? So, uh, and especially when it comes to black women speaking on black men and their concerns and issues, the systemic analysis is just not there. And so when you let these people talk and they talk long enough, it's just Black men ain't ish, blame black men, colorism, sexism, featureism, texturism, misogynoism, etc., etc. The systemic analysis is just not, it's not there, or they refuse to engage in it, at least on their channels. Venom said, Z, they all know they are liars. And Jake says, you expect critical thinking to when they say goofy things like stats don't matter? Exactly. Actually, Naima, say it with me now. Right? F yo facts. F yo facts, Negro. F yo facts. Right? Alexa, play Dave Chappelle playing Rick James F yo couch. Right? Dud, I ain't even gonna read it out loud. I ain't even gonna read it out loud. Right? Thank you. And Sahel says the 2000s gave us Bling Bling, which I actually like that song. All the throwback songs are about blowing money fast. Hell, 50 is making money off a show based off BMF. Yes, right. And look, man, like and me and Toya should be doing that stream for y'all. And shout out to Toya. Toya called me out. We should be doing that hip hop stream for y'all in Consumerism next week Friday. So not this Friday coming up, but next week Friday. And shout out to Toya. Um, but Mr. Z is a whole hypocrite because like I enjoyed that music too, that luxury life music. I told you, like I listen to a lot of Currency. I listen to Wiz. I listen to Rick Ross. I like that smooth beat stuff when they talk about nothing but and I call it lifestyle rap. That Larry June engages in, Currency engages in, when you see Rick Ross and the big mansion that he has, right? Like the Aston Martin music, I think he got with Amsterdam music, and like I told y'all, Maybach music, actually 1 through 4, but his joint with John Lennon, the Free Enterprise, I like that stuff. I listen to that stuff. I cruise to that, but I know what's real. These people listen to that type of stuff, or they watch the reality TV shows and whatever, and they're like, that's the way life is supposed to be for them. Because that might be somebody's life, but that's the way life is supposed to be. And Mr. Z is not against being aspirational, but aspirationalism, oh yes, I am against that. Right? And PK says, too much hopium, I think you meant to say copium. Hopium and copium promotion of hustle culture and education pimping. Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. And that's all it is. Right? So once again, doom spending, perfect, perfect description of what we see, and maybe even some of us might have engaged in. Some of us might still be engaging in that a bit. Right? I think that's a perfect description. And the silent depression, I think that's Chef Kiss perfect description of what we're seeing. And GC says just start drop shipping in 2024, and you can financially be free in 2025. It's only funny because it's true. You let these people, right? These financial guru pimps, LLC Twitter, you let them talk. It's only funny because it's true. Jake killed me with that. Right? So that's all it is, y'all. Like I just wanted to come to y'all with this tonight because I think shout out to Tone talks for this. Jake Morgan. I think what we're being sold, um, and making it seem like it's all you, right? You're. It's not that we've um poisoned the environment. It's not that the environment is a goddamn biohazard wasteland. It has nothing to do with that, right? It's not like we exploded a couple of financial nuclear bombs. No, no, no. You're the one deciding not to have children because of your own autonomy. You decided that. It has nothing to do with the environment, right? Just like they're telling us, no, young people, they want to rent. They don't want to be stuck with mortgages. It has nothing to do with the fact that they can't afford the goddamn house. Young people are choosing to live at home with their parents well into their 30s, maybe even 40s. Huh? It has nothing to do with the money. Young people are more atomized, right? They have less friends, they have less sexual partners, they're less likely to be in a relationship and married, less likely to have children. That's just a choice. It has nothing to do with the environment, the toxic ass environment, right? PK said the less version of bootstrap talk. Bootstraps. Yeah, you mean all that emotionally intelligent talk? That's why these dudes are not in relationships, because they're not emotionally intelligent enough. Because what they really want is a woman that's barefoot and pregnant. That's the left version of bootstrap talk, right? The left version of bootstrap talk is that maybe you don't deserve anything because you don't got a college degree, right? So, yeah, man. Look. Mr. Z gonna be here all day. So we'll truly pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all have a great rest of y'all night. Um, yeah, I might change the thumbnail to this also too. Um, but yeah, exactly, PK. You're just not ambitious enough. Bootstraps, right? Hysterical, GC, right? So yeah, we'll pause right here. I think this is perfect. If y'all haven't checked it out, check out the link in the description. Um, I think Tone did a masterful job here. I think the guest, Jake Morgan, did a great job describing the environment. This is what it is, man. And I think the more and more of us that speak about this, maybe we can change this. Maybe not for us, but for our kids. Z, what kids? But for our kids' generation, the kids we coulda, shoulda, woulda had, and for those of you with children, for your children. Because if the goal is for every generation to do better than the next, then we got to create the environment for our children to do better than us, and for us also not to hoard the opportunities for our individual children, right? That's why the class dimorphism, I think that's the word I'm looking for. Dimorphism, that might be the word, right? Is not really working the way it's supposed to work. So yeah, that part. Anyway, so we'll pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all have a great rest of your night. Go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, so you can sound even more informed than Z. For the love of God, so you don't sound like the women who put all the onus on black men. So you can contextualize these things, right? Like I said, at least the Black Manosphere, like Z, give at least we do black women a solid and contextualize their absolute insanity. They don't even give us that. They don't even give us that grace. And on that note, we will truly pause right here. Y'all have a great rest of your night. And PK hysterical. Y'all have a great rest of your night. Z out.